there, Cheryl here. We're gonna hop right to it and go over exactly how to fill out your success builder. Keep in mind, if you watched the other video, you remembered that I told you that this tool is not reserved for the elite few. Yes, I've used it with my one-on-one, my group, and all the folks in my monthly mastery, but it is available to everyone. I want you to keep in mind that we can all learn how to think and plan like the top 1% so we can achieve what's important to us. So let's hop to it. I want you to either have this printed out, which is ideal if you can have it printed out, or at a minimum have it pulled up on your computer. Also, if you remember, we talked about starting with the end in mind. It's incredibly important that we start with your long-term objective. Now, what is a long-term objective? So first, objective is basically interchangeable with goal. This is a long-term dream or ambition. It's not a SMART goal. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I am not a big proponent of SMART goals. I want to encourage you to dream big. So I want to know what's one thing that you know in here that is incredibly important to you that you want to do or that you know that you must do. And keep in mind that this can be remotely, and I encourage you to make sure that it's remotely possible. It doesn't have to be a slam dunk, but it needs to be remotely possible. So let me give you an example. For me, if let's say I want to run a marathon in under 4 hours. So that's unlikely, but it's remotely possible that I can run it under 4 hours. If I said that I want to run a marathon under 3 hours, that is not even remotely possible for me. So I want to make sure this is a big stretch goal of yours or a dream of yours that's at least slightly possible or remotely possible, okay? Also, you need to have time to improve. So I want you to make sure that it's a minimum of 6 months away. Anything between 6 months to the next couple of years. So I hope that makes sense. Once you figure that out, again, that's gonna go in the column or the little spot that's marked A. Once you figure that out, now listen up to this. It's very important. You need to figure out why you care so deeply, because achieving at any next level of ambition, I'm going to be straight with you, it can be hard. It can be really hard. You know, I've been in the process the last couple years of scaling a business, and it's been amazing. Has it been easy? Absolutely not. It's really important that we are all very in tune with why we care and why our long-term ambition is so important to us. So you're going to put that right here in B, your why. And I want you to keep in mind that figuring out your why, it's kind of like an onion. I would recommend peeling away about 5 different layers and asking yourself, well, why is that? Why is that important? So let me give you an example. If excuse me, I'm gonna run a half marathon coming up here in May, and I'm going to run it in under 2 hours. And I might say, oh, I'm running because I want to lose a few pounds. Well, that's not really my why. So, and then I would say, well, why do I want to lose a few pounds? Well, so I can be fit and so I can maybe feel good about myself. Why do I want to do that? And so after I peel this away a couple times, what I come up with is I want to be healthy, fit, and strong so I can do my best to be around for my children as long as I can. That is my why. Okay, so that is going to drive me and get me out of bed and get me out on that trail the days that I don't want to go. So I hope you understand that your why you're going to need to ask yourself a couple times. So once you figure that out, you're going to move down to your intermediate term objectives, which are C and D. There's going to be 2 of these. Now, intermediate term objectives are a little bit shorter in time. In other words, they start in the next couple weeks and they go to a couple months down the road. And what these are the 2 things that are quantifiable. That's really important, that are quantifiable or measurable. And they must be the things that are most important that you need to improve upon. So example, for me, it needs to be flexibility, and cardiovascular strength. So they need to be quantifiable. So whatever they are for you, if it has to do with your work and your business, think about 2 things that are most important for you to get to the next level at work. So it might be gaining confidence. It might have to do with influence. It might have to do with public speaking. It might have to do with closing sales. I don't know, whatever it is, think about the 2 intermediate term objectives that you need to improve upon the most. And then you need to give yourself a score. So for me, for my flexibility, I'd say maybe it's a 6. And then in the next couple of months, I need to get it to an 8 so I don't get injured. And I would also give myself a rating for my cardiovascular strength and fitness, which would maybe be about a 6 as well. I need to get it to an 8. So you get the idea. It's very easy to apply this to your business as well. And then finally, your short-term objectives, which are F and G. If you can see those 2 are at the bottom. You want to make sure and fill those out. Those are in the very near term, from today until the next couple of weeks. So these are things that you have 100% control over. I want you to compare those to your long-term objective, which is A, which you really have no control over, and we need to be at peace with it. In other words, remember we talked about proceeding as if success is inevitable. When you plan something in A, your long-term objective, you need to plan as if it's already happened and be at peace with the fact that you might not have any control over it. For example, if you're looking for a raise to get to the next level at work, you really don't have a lot of control over what your senior leaders are going to do, if they're going to promote you, what the competition is, so you get the idea. So you don't have any control. With intermediate term objectives, you have a little bit control, but not total control. But with short-term objectives, which are F and G here at the bottom, you have total control. Either you're going to do them or you're not. So I want to make sure you understand a couple more things about short-term objectives. Also, in addition to you having complete control, this is really important. So if you're not paying attention, be sure to pay attention to this. These have to be very specific as to time and place and what you're actually going to do. So in other words, let's just take the running example. I'll give you an athletic example and also a business example. Let's say for running, if I need to increase my flexibility, let's say every morning when I get up from 5:15 a.m. to 5:30 a.m., I'm gonna roll out on a lacrosse ball, which is very painful, which I've been doing. And then that's what I'm gonna do every single morning, Monday through Friday, 5:15 to 5:30 a.m. I'm gonna roll out in this lacrosse ball. And so that's very specific as to time and place and when. I'm gonna roll on a lacrosse ball, 5:15 to 5:30 a.m. Now, in subsequent videos and courses, we'll talk about how to make it more likely that this is gonna happen, that you'll actually do what you say you're gonna do. But for starters, make sure to verbalize it. So in other words, if you live with a person or other people, let them know, hey, in the morning, I'm gonna start doing this. Or let's say at work, you need to learn how to be a better public speaker. Start talking to your colleagues and saying, hey, do you know, every morning I'm getting to work a little early, let's say at 7:45, and I'm gonna go into the conference room and practice my speaking. Better yet, rope one of them into meeting you there, because that's social influence. But this is a topic for a whole nother day to talk about how to make it more likely and to talk about motivation. But for now, we're just talking about how to fill out the success builder, and I'm giving you a couple tips to understand how to really make sure that your short-term objectives happen. So in other words, just a reminder, your short-term objectives, they are very specific and they're under your control. Either you're gonna do them or you're not. So let's go ahead and move on. This column in the middle, it says, what will I do this week? And it has listed Monday through Sunday. So when we were talking, this is really for your short-term objectives. So it's important to write in what you're gonna do and when you're gonna do it in this column. If you don't want to keep printing these sheets off all the time, what I recommend is that you have a sticky note and put it in there, and that way you can write down your weekly stuff and tear it off. And then keep in mind that this should have a 60-day expiration on it, so you can revisit and replan and probably fill everything out again because it'll need to be updated. So I hope that makes sense as well. And then moving on to roadblocks. This is huge that most people do not plan for, but world-class performers do this consistently. It's very important when you're planning, let's say when you're planning on Sunday night or even when you're planning daily, to think about what might get in my way. So these roadblocks, what are labeled I on here, it's important to think about when you're planning your week and you're planning your days, what might get in my way of, let's say if I'm going to get to work early and practice my pitch or practice my public speaking, I'm going to do it at 7:45 to 8 a.m. It's important to think what could get in my way of this, and maybe you have an early breakfast meeting. So then it's very important, once you know your roadblocks, that you can come up with solutions, which is J. Hopefully you can see that there. So in other words, if you have a breakfast meeting at the time when you normally would be practicing your speaking, you can understand that that's a roadblock and think, okay, I'll either come in 15 minutes even earlier before that breakfast meeting, or I'll block in 15 minutes another time during the day or when I'm done with that meeting. So I hope you understand why this section on roadblocks and solutions is incredibly important. It's really important too with your personal fitness. If you're gonna go out and you have planned one morning to go for a run, but it's gonna be pouring rain, that's a roadblock that needs to be planned for. So if you plan for it, you're more likely not to just blow off your run, and maybe you'll plan to do something else like go to the gym or run later in the day when it's not raining or something else. So roadblocks and solutions are incredibly important, and they're an extra step that a lot of people don't take. Keeping in mind that this whole sheet can be used for teams as well. In other words, your teams at work. So if you have a project going on, it's important for everyone to have one of these sheets and to go over them, and that way everyone can sync up on what's most important for the team and what their individual contributions are. And finally, the section at the bottom titled K. A lot of people have heard about affirmations, but they're not 100% sure what they are, what their purpose is, or how to figure them out for themselves. Affirmations are incredibly important, and if you don't use them any other time of the day, I want you to make sure to use them before you go to bed. Affirmations are things that you repeat to yourself over and over and over again, things that are really important to you, that you know you already are, or things that are important to you that you want to become. So let me give you an example. So for me, when I was trying to lose a couple pounds, I would be, I am healthy and fit, or I'm in the process of becoming healthy and fit. And so that is an affirmation. Or I might say, I am capable of becoming really lean and fit. When it comes to my business, I might say something like, I am capable of scaling my business to the next level, or I am in the process of doing that. So what happens is you start talking about things that are really important to you that you know you already are and you want to do it better, or things that you want to achieve that are really important to you. Affirmations usually start with the words, I am capable of, or I am. They are always positive because these are things that you want to reinforce. And if you do these and repeat them 5 to 10 times, especially before you go to bed, you're actually going to strengthen those neural connections, and you believe the things that you repeat to yourself over and over and over. So you're going to make it more likely that you will make progress towards what you want and deserve when you wake up in the morning. I know it sounds crazy, but there's such a science behind this that says that this is true. So figuring out a couple affirmations, which is K, is incredibly important, and especially saying them at night and out loud before you go to bed is very important. If you want to take it a step further, what further cements these positive affirmations in our mind are two things. One, like I said, saying them out loud. And the second thing is saying them out loud when you're listening to music. Both of those things will really strengthen those neural connections and make you wake up. You'll actually be thinking about it subconsciously, and you will wake up more likely to achieve and make progress towards what you want and deserve. So I hope you found this explanation of this simple little sheet very, very useful. If you fill it out religiously, then I am so excited at the possibilities for you. My challenge for you is to fill it out for 66 days. Yes, get a calendar and check it off, because if you can do that, then it's going to be a habit. You're going to keep filling it out, and you're going to accelerate your progress to what you want and deserve. So here's to you being amazing. I look forward to hearing all of your success stories. I also look forward to hearing any questions or challenges that you're having, so I can customize and create content for you to help you get to your next level that I know is already in you, that you're just waiting to unlock. So keep up the amazing work. I believe in you. I have 100% confidence in you, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.